Okay, so if this is your first time skiing, this is the video for you. I'm going to walk you through exactly what to expect and what to do if you've never skied before and you have no idea how to book a holiday. How do I know this? Because this is exactly what happened to us. So I'm going to share with you so you don't go through the same surprise as we did. So the first thing you need to do is find a ski resort, and you need to make sure if you're new to it that it's got lots of green or blue slopes. Just to give you an idea, green or blue mean the same thing. They're basically easy slope. Some countries green's the easiest, some countries blue's the easiest, so same thing really. You also need to make sure it's got a ski school. I imagine every single ski resort in the world has a ski school, but best to double check, because if you need to learn to ski, you're going to need a ski school. France could be an absolutely great place to start, but I am told it's quite expensive. You'll have to have a look at that. We actually chose Italy, and I'll tell you more about that later. So the first thing you need to do is find your ski resort, and then you need to find some accommodation. The best way to find your ski resort is either find a dry ski slope or a ski centre somewhere nearby. Speak to friends, family, use Facebook, any means necessary, or just search skiing online and find a resort that suits you. Straight after that, you're going to need an apartment, and again, you can do this by speaking to people from ski centres, friends, family, or you can just search the ski resort online. For instance, we're staying in a place called Livigno. If you search Livigno apartments, 1,000,001 apartments will come up. So that's nice and easy. The one thing with skiing is you don't really tend to have a package holiday. You do end up doing each thing separately, but it is easy, and I'm going to break it down for you really simple. So first we're going to talk about what ski stuff do you actually need. So the first and most important thing is this doesn't need to be expensive, okay? We got all of our ski equipment from Vinted and eBay. Okay, we're spending like £3 on gloves, tops, that everything didn't cost much more than £3 unless you're buying a whole set together. The beauty is if you do decide you don't want to go skiing again, or you just want to upgrade your stuff, you can then sell it again and you've lost nothing. Now the most important things you can get are thermal underlays for both your top and your bottom. That's what these are. It might look ridiculous, but believe it or not, I think you said it was -9 today, and I'm actually okay. I mean, I have done a morning of skiing as well. But yeah, thermal underlayer, mainly because you're going to sweat a lot and you don't want the sweat being trapped to making you freezing cold. So you've got to have an underlay top and underlay bottom. Next, you're going to need some form of walking boots or snow boots. I've got some snow boots right here. Look at these bad boys. Oh yeah. Again, you can get these pretty cheap. Walking boots would be absolutely fine. That's just when you're not skiing and you want to go get a meal, walk around the village. You're going to need something to wear, and chances are most of the season it's going to be covered in snow, wet, soggy. You need something waterproof to keep your feet warm. You're pointing at me and then you're going to point at the boots, okay? So hold on me first. So I'm going to show you how to put a boot on, because it's an absolute nightmare when you're first beginning to learn. I'll show you the basics. The first and most important thing is you've got to get the tongue right out. You might feel like you're going to break it, you're not, but if you don't pull that tongue out, you aren't going to get your foot inside the boot. So I can't get my foot in. Oh, can't get my foot in. Pull the tongue right out and in goes your foot. Yeah? Okay, next, want to make sure that your leg, no trousers inside the boot at all, just your sock, and then you've got to make sure your tongue is right in there properly. It's got to be there right against your leg, in front of everything. Once you've done that, you can start at the front and make sure that you tighten them just enough that they're a strain to lock up. And that's it. You're also going to need ski socks. Ski socks are just really long socks. They're about that long, because when you put your ski boots on for your skis, you can't have any trousers inside the ski boots. You're gonna have nothing in there apart from your ski socks pulled all the way up. So they're gonna keep your feet warm and your leg warm inside the boots without making your legs sore. And by the way, I am not an expert skier. I don't pretend to be an expert skiing person at all. I've been skiing 4 days. This is my take on skiing. Take every bit of information you can and then expand from there. The next absolute must is a ski coat. Yes, I'm not wearing one now, but when you go up that mountain, it drops about 10 degrees. You need a ski coat. Ski coats basically normally have a little zip on the side or on the arm. That's to keep your ski pass in, which means you don't have to get it out when you're carrying skis and whatever else, because it's hard work. You could just swipe your arm as you walk past to get on the ski lift. More importantly, it's waterproof and it's super warm. So yeah, ski coat is an absolute must. Again, you can get them cheap on Vinted, eBay, whatever works for you. You will also need waterproof trousers called salopettes. They are literally just waterproof trousers. Nothing fancy about them, apart from that, you know, they fit well, allow you to ski. I think they are slightly padded as well, but yeah, they keep you really warm, so they're a must as well. And just so you know, the sweat will pour out of you when you're skiing. I don't understand it. Like, I'm talking, I am wet underneath these trousers, soaked, okay? And that's why I'm in this top. to dry out a little bit. Your gloves are going to be wet and they're waterproof, so the only place they're coming from is your hands. What's really weird though is you don't need a drink. In fact, I think it's just because it's cold. You can dehydrate quite easy. So, but yeah, 2 hours straight, you won't tend to need a drink. Then at lunchtime, you try and fill up, get lots of food down, you get lots of drink, and then crack back on. Finally, the next must-have is gloves, and it's not just, I mean, this is late April now, so as you can see, half the slope isn't covered in snow. So yeah, so it's not just to keep your hands warm, it's more for protection. If someone goes over your hand when you're skiing, that's a bad day, so you've got to have gloves on. Okay, the next thing we're gonna look at is what clothes do you need when you're not skiing? That was another big point for us. What the hell do you bring? Now again, this really depends on the season. I am told around Christmas time it's freezing. You have to eat inside, you can't drink outside at all. Right now, again, late April. After skiing like now, I can go in this top. I'm not even in the sunshine. In the sun, you're gonna burn. But yeah, when you're not skiing, you're going to want, you can wear whatever you want, okay? So wear whatever you want, your normal clothes. If you want to look really fancy, you can. If you want to just wear your ski stuff to a restaurant, you can. No one's going to judge you. I just wear a jumper with my ski coat and then some jeans. And then I just wear my ski boots everywhere. That's all I bought, ski boots, and they're perfect. They're comfortable, they keep my feet dry. No one's judging you because everyone's in the same boat. But to reiterate this does depend on the season. If you go middle of Christmas, I'm sure you are gonna need an extra coat. We did bring some extra, jumpers and things in case, but we didn't need them. Okay, now we're gonna look at what stuff you should just rent. Don't bother buying everything. There's no point, okay? If you've never been skiing before, big mistake, and trying to pack it, big problem. We will talk about that more later. Okay, first of all, the cost. To rent the ski equipment for us 5 people, it was around €450, and that included a 10% discount. That included a helmet. Got to wear a helmet, you just don't want to risk it on here. That included ski boots, and that also included your skis. Also included poles as well. Get up a bit of speed, Vroom, vroom, vroom. Of course, the kids did both snap a pair of poles on the first day, so that was an extra €10 charge for snapping poles. Never mind. What I will say, future reference though, is make sure your kids can use a ski lift, and if they can't, make sure you let the instructor know so they don't end up on a ski lift on their own with someone else. It was partly my fault because the kids went into a sort of more intermediate group because they've been on a dry slope, but they've never used a ski lift, so the instructor probably assumed they could use a ski lift. Never mind. Nothing bad happened, they just snapped the poles when lifting the bar up. One thing I have forgotten to mention is you need ski goggles as well. They're a must. You could wear sunglasses, but because of the sharp bits, if you fall over and they bash in your face, I wouldn't fancy it. Ski goggles, cheap as chips. Again, if you get them secondhand at eBay, no problemo at all. And you really need them because it's white, you can't see a thing. You'll have bloodshot eyes if you try walking around without anything on your eyes. Okay, what other stuff do you need to bring when going skiing? So the first absolute must is sun cream. The boy's face got burnt on the first day, his nose and around his face. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it, but yeah, you need sun cream for sure. You also absolutely definitely need sunglasses because of the white snow. The light's reflecting and it hurts your eyes. You will be wearing sunglasses. Woolly hats depending on the season. That's about it for the really important stuff. What I will mention now though is, one, the ski boots take up a lot of space, so make sure you stuff them full of socks and everything you can fit in there. And the second one is get vacuum bags, cheap as chips on Amazon, and you won't believe how small they can make your ski coats and stuff like that. They'll squash them right down. So look for vacuum bags to get stuff in your cases, because that's where we started to struggle fitting stuff in the cases. Okay, so now I was going to tell you about ski school. What is it? How much is it? What's it about? So ski school is literally what it says on the tin. It's a place to learn to ski for both children and adults. It doesn't matter what level you are, if you're a complete beginner, never skied, or if you're an intermediate, they will put you in the correct class for that situation. The adults are always separate from the children, which is lovely again. The children's classes are no more than 9 per person, depending on their age. And here, I can't say across the world, but here the classes start at 10 and they finish at 12. They do a full day one where they'll go for lunch at that point and then carry on in the afternoon. We haven't done that this time just because it's our first time. The kids absolutely love it. They go off for the day, they've come back, they've made so much progress. Absolutely brilliant, couldn't recommend it enough. I went into an adult ski school, absolutely love it. I've got so good in 4 days. Can't believe it, feel like a pro. Not, but feel like it. Do red slopes now. If you're particularly anxious about skiing and you don't want to go into a group, you can just pay for private classes. That is a great place to start if you're really, really worried about the idea of skiing. And that'll focus on getting you past that beginner stage where you're really panicking. My wife is having some private lessons at the moment just to help her get to the first level of slopes. And it's perfectly normal, so don't worry about it. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you about what you actually do when you arrive. Okay, now I can only really talk about what we did and how it worked here, but it gives you an idea of what to expect. And I can first of all tell you, it was extremely stressful, okay? That's why I haven't done any filming the first day, because it was hard work, all right? But maybe that's because we didn't know what to expect. We had no idea what to do, and I can promise you, it was well worth getting through all that stress, because it's absolutely amazing. We're on the final day of skiing. I did my 2-hour class today, yes. I started on Sunday, doing ski school, never skied before in my life, and I managed to come down a black slope twice today, but I am cooked. I might have broken a rib, and I'm just absolutely cream crackered, so that's it for me till next year, but I can't wait. Best thing I've ever done. The furthest I've ever come out of my comfort zone for sure, but by far the best thing I've ever done. Closest thing I've ever done to it is probably scuba diving, which was pretty scary as well. But yeah, this is a whole new level. Definitely going to continue this. Better if you're young. I think it's easy, you have less fear, but never too old. Yeah, amazing. The first great thing here was, I think they know it's stressful. So, you know, as I said before, each part of the holiday is separate. So you've got to pay each person, each place individually. And they know the first day is rough. They know you're not going anywhere. So when I try and pay each of them, they're like, don't worry about it today, just come back in the next few days. You know, we're on day 4 and I've only just paid for the ski rental. It's not a big deal at all. So that's really, really nice. They recognize that and they just want you to be happy. So the first bit was trying to find the apartment, and it's a pedestrian area where there's no cars, which is really, really nice once you're here, but trying to get here and not having a clue is a bit tougher. So eventually we found the apartment, managed to park up, we went straight to the apartment and went straight upstairs to the apartment, unloaded all the stuff. Then we headed straight to the ski school, booked in the ski classes. Now bear in mind, skiing is normally Sunday to Saturday, so everything on Sunday is really, really busy. We arrived on the Saturday and did Saturday to Saturday instead, just because we wanted to avoid the big crowds. So you can do that, that's an option. So yeah, we headed straight to the ski school. It was nice and quiet there, paid for whatever we wanted, tried to get an idea of what we needed. We then we paid for a private lesson straight away. I wouldn't recommend that at all. We got about 15 minutes of private lesson because we hadn't done everything else we needed to do, which I'll explain now. But yeah, straight after going to the ski school, paid for what we needed to do, we went straight down to the ski rental place and started getting ourselves fitted. This is where, again, it would be very busy if it was arrival day, which was Sunday morning. Because we went on the Saturday, it wasn't too bad, but even then with 5 of us, it took over an hour. You know, the kids had to try on obviously every single pair of boots in the whole place, which you've got to make sure your feet are comfortable. Otherwise you are going to struggle and you're going to end up having to go back and change them. But yeah, that's time consuming. You haven't got a clue what's going on, you know, so bear that in mind. Just take it with a pinch of salt. People are absolutely lovely, by the way. They're really helpful. Everyone just wants you to be happy. Straight after the ski school, we then went to find the place to buy your ski passes. The guy wanted, because they were both junior and it's cheaper to have junior, he wanted the passports and I hadn't got the passports. They were back in the apartment, so I had to throw a right paddy there because I didn't want to walk back, but eventually he just gave me the juniors. But yeah, just let you know in case you need to take your passports or some form of ID for the children. I think maybe he thought I was pretending that they were juniors and actually they were, you know, fully grown men. I don't know. But yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, ski passes came to €1,000, sorry. So yeah, not a pretty penny, but when you get to the top, you'll see why. The amount of effort, and they're on these slopes all night, so I can see why they charge. And that was for 8 days of skiing. By the way, most people would probably buy 6. We didn't need to get the first day, that was a big mistake. There's a free little slope that you could just mess around on, and we were too knackered, so we literally did, I'd say 15 minutes of skiing, and yeah, so probably not worth it for the first day at least. Again, don't think you need the last day either. I mean, you could do it for the last day, but chances are you're going to leave at lunchtime, so you're not getting a full day skiing. So do you want to pay, you know, nearly £200 for the day for that? That's up to you. Again, if I was doing it again, I would have taken 2 days off. I would have just done 6 days. That being not the first day and not the last day. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a general cost breakdown of the whole cost of the skiing holiday, hiring everything, all of that really. So I would say it is pretty expensive, but it is definitely worth every penny. So speaking to a few different people, Livigno, in terms of skiing, is actually one of the cheapest places you can go. So when I give you these costs, bear in mind we are a family of 5, 2 children, 3 adults. But let's have a look at the breakdown. Ski passes, they were around €1,000. Apartment, again, around €1,000. We got flights to Italy from Bergamo, which is about 3.5, 4 hours away, around £600. Yeah, we got a car, which was automatic. Definitely get an automatic if it's your first time driving on the other side of the road. You can see my other video about that if you're interested in learning to drive in Italy. But yeah, €200. Rental of all the ski equipment was €430. So that gives us roughly around €3,200 cost so far before we eat. Now again, Livigno is very different because it's a tax-free zone. I'm not going to go into the history of that, but yeah, it's duty-free zone, so shops everywhere. You've got Tommy Hilfiger, Da Vinci, I can't pronounce it, but yeah, shops everywhere. You can get, you know, your tobacco and that sort of stuff, just over €3 for a pack of 20. You can get alcohol, big bottles for, you know, €10. So there are some cheap aspects to it as well. Supermarket products, I'd say pretty expensive. but you're in the middle of the mountains, so I guess what do you expect? Restaurants, I'd say they're very similar to the UK. Again, alcohol, very similar to the UK, €4.5, €5, €5.5, that sort of price, depending on where you're drinking. And yeah, last night, for instance, we went out for the best meal I've had in a very long time. Amazing. I know you wouldn't think it was ribs and cheese. Madness, but amazing. Kids had desserts, we all had a drink. It came to just under €100. That's with a tip as well, so I was happy. Okay, I think we've come to the end of the video. I think I've covered more or less everything in this one. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you give me a wrong way. Give me a like. Yeah, subscribe if you want to see any more. And yeah, if you've got any questions at all, get them in the comments and I will be sure to try and cover them for you. And good luck. I hope you love skiing as much as we do. See you later.